G'day and welcome to the GameDay Squad NRL Fantasy Show. I'm Bill, that's Stu, and we are the Fantasy Bros. We are back again, partnering with GameDay Squad to bring you all you need to know to succeed in GDS Rugby League this season. Everyone, I am coming to you from a completely different place. I am up on Perisher Mountain, coming to you from Perisher Valley, and I am going to drop out at any time. I am sitting next to a fire, so it is lovely, but that is why Tommy is here, just in case I drop out. Welcome, Stu. Welcome, Tommy. Stu,
mate. Hey, Tom. Deal must be nice, hey? But that just shows the work ethic. Hey, you're on a nice holiday on the slopes, on the snow. Probably could be out doing some night skiing at the moment, but you've found some time to join us on the Game Day Squad Rugby League live show to preview round 18. But yeah, we've got Tommy there on standby, just in case Dill does drop out. Fingers crossed, you can stay for the whole show, but. A lot of calling for Tom to be the third fantasy bro. He had a massive W in that contender competition. Tom, g'day, mate. And hey, well done on that.
Oh, gosh, don't put that pressure on me. I don't know if I can deliver that again. But, fellas, it's always a pleasure to come on, talk about some rugby league. Great effort out in the slopes, making sure he still joins the stream. Wants to talk about the footy, and it's a pretty important round. You know, you sort of made me have a look at what this round is a bit earlier than what I would normally do. I sort of chuck it together on a Thursday afternoon, but yeah, with Origin and everything there, it was really tough. I actually had a really tricky time getting it all together, so I can't wait to hear who you sort of are ranking highly. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Fantasy Bros. Let's look at round 18.
That's it, mate. And we appreciate you joining us. And yeah, like we said, you've sort of been on the outer of the Fantasy Bros third, so we're pretty happy to have you. Look, it's Wednesday. We know what that means. It's Teamless Tuesdays dropped. There's a lot to go through, obviously. As you said, there's injuries, buys, Origin. Once again, we're going to have to dig pretty deep. I think Mel posted her team earlier in the week. And I think she had a total of 3 players that she was looking at playing. So, yeah, coaches are going to have to go super deep this week in their lists. Mate, talking about results, Stu, how did you go this week across your competitions?
Yeah, not too bad. 13th and 14th across my Challenger and Champion, which are my main 2 competitions, and still sitting there in third in the Challenger competition for overall. So, still family and prize card territory, but just not getting the weekly results going my way. I was hoping for some better prizes and some better packs to rip open during the week. Not coming my way, but this round is a perfect way to find some pods and make up some ground on a couple of those blokes above me. How did you go, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm pretty similar to you. I sort of was outside majority of the competitions. I had the 19th in Classic, which was my best result, which it was enough to progress to the third round of GDS Classic Cup. So I'm pretty happy with that. Still trying to defend my GDS Cup from a few weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm also in that sort of spot now where I'm reaching for that. Yeah, thank you. I'm sort of reaching for that top 20 spot in Classic at the moment. We've discussed a few weeks ago that that prize card draw can really go quite deep in that top 20 leaderboard. So I'm trying to sort of get into there, and we've got a couple of familiar coaches across the range of competitions. So there's plenty of opportunity for me to maybe have a couple of prize cards at the end of this season. So yeah, pretty happy with that.
I was hoping you didn't mention the Classic Cup, actually. Everyone would know that I famously lost in round 1 of the Starter Cup, the inaugural GDS Cup, and I got through unscathed in round 1 of the Classic Cup. Lo and behold, gone. Round 2, Artful Dragons got rid of me. I think he finished 15th for the round. I didn't feature in the top 20, but I made it as far as week 2 in the Classic Cup. So Dill's flying the flag once again for the Fantasy Bros. He got a nice win there over the Vegan Rabbit.
Yes, I am.
Tom, you still alive in that competition?
Oh, mate, unfortunately, no, I'm not. I, on the flip side of you, quite famously in the Aussie Rules Starter Cup, got eliminated in round 1 and made it through further in the Rugby League, and I've flipped it this time. I got eliminated week 1 of the Rugby League, and I'm still surviving over there in Aussie Rules. So it was sad. It was nice while it lasted, but it didn't last very long for me.
And it just shows that you can have some of the best results across the season-long competitions, but that head-to-head competition could get you at any time. And, it comes down to your opposition and a bit of luck as well, and maybe a couple of pods. Obviously, we've spoken a lot of times that we reveal our team at the end of this, and it just means that our opponents have a bit of an opportunity to maybe pot up with a couple of players and a couple of options outside what we're doing. So, yeah, it does make it tough for us. But, yeah, I'm flying the flag, and I'm going to continue, hopefully, with another dub this week. Let's go.
Yeah, Melissa's just said, can we give a shout out to Tom? Pretty sure he did well this week. Yeah, Melissa, we just gave him the plaudits for winning the contender competition. Tom, just talk us through, do you win prizes? Although you're on the GDS team, do you still get to rip those packs for winning the contender competition for the week?
Yeah, I do get to win the prizes. So
anything in the pack?
I did actually. I got a diamond, a little controversial, especially considering some of my best friends are Tigers fans, but I got a Galvin diamond in my pack. So they were not happy with it, but I was pretty happy. Good young player. He's going to be in a much better situation, I think, next season when he has a full preseason. So probably just one to hang on to and see how that goes. I reckon it'll go quite well.
Yeah, nice. Alrighty, as always, we're going to jump into the week. We're going to preview our classic teams for that Classic Cup as well. But before we do, don't forget you can sign up at any time over at GDS. There's still plenty of competition ahead, still plenty of opportunity to win some massive prizes. And I believe, Tom, maybe you can talk through a little bit more, but you have just announced another competition as well, another sport being added to GameDay squad. So we might talk about that throughout. But if you still haven't signed up, plenty of time to do so. Head over to the GameDay squad website or download the app and then put in the promo code FBRL25. You receive those 3 9-player common packs just for signing up using our code. So there's plenty of opportunity to get involved and have some fun. And just before we move on, g'day to Michael as well. He's in the chat. I need lots of help. You a hand. As always, great to see Skip. No,
mate, just round 18, the last of the big buys. We've got a number of teams on the buys. You can see on screen there. We've got the Dolphins, the Eels, the Knights, the Sharkies, the Panthers, the Titans, and the Warriors. But we're also without a number of big names who will be missing due to rep duties. So we don't, even though their teams are playing, we won't be able to put players like Jacob Carraz, Payne Haas, Hutto Young, Harry Grant, or Latrell Mitchell into our teams. So yeah, we're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel for a lot of depth where we can't play those players from those 7 teams, but also a number of those really handy guys are missing through Origin duty. So let's get straight into the hooker position. Tom, I might start with you. Any of those 6 names there on the screen jump out at you as a potential start for round 18, given that we probably haven't started many of these at all this year?
Yeah, well, it's good because one of the ones I have started are in this list, so at least I'm sort of going in the right direction, getting this started. Look, I'm up the milk this week. I've got a couple of milk players in my squad, and one of those being Tom Starling. I know he doesn't play the full 80 minutes, but he's just a points per minute machine. He just gets in there, he gets the hard work done, and he's a pretty safe start, I've got to be honest with you. He hasn't really dipped too low, especially over the past couple of rounds. We've seen 4 50-point performances back-to-back. So he's in great form. He's got a great role and a pretty solid matchup. I think he's just going to do what he's doing in these other games and score. And I was a little nervous to start others. So I don't know if it's because I love the Tom Starling start or if it's just because I'm going to trust in someone who's been pretty consistent over this past month.
No, mate, I like it. Can't fault that at all. I'm going the same way. I'm going Tommy Starling as well. We do like to plug in our 80-minute hookers, like our Harry Grants, Blake Brayley's. I don't think we've got a really solid 80-minute hooker this round. So for me, it's Tommy Starling, 63 and 68 minutes in his past 2. He's been averaging 40 tackles and 55 run meters per match. So he's got a pretty decent floor. But like you said, yeah, the milk, playing plenty of them this week. I think there's some upside there against the Dragons. They're without a few key forwards, so it wouldn't surprise me if he got amongst some of the attacking stats as well. I don't know if Dill's with us anymore, But I do have the inside word that he has gone Tommy Starling as well. So that's 3 from 3.
Wow.
I think there might be some interest in a Damien Cook, a bit like Tommy Starling. He's got that ceiling, he's got that running game. But obviously against the Milk and their big forward pack, it might be a little bit tough going for Damien Cook. What has impressed in a few recent matches is he has taken the field with Jacob Little playing hooker as well. And if Tommy Starling could do that and get some minutes at hooker when Owen Paddy comes onto the field, an 80-minute Tommy Starling this week when we're pretty desperate for some points would be unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Melissa says Dill's getting ready for Christmas. Yeah, it looks like he's wearing his Santa's hat. Anything else on the hooker position, Tom? It's a pretty boring position. You happy to move on to the mid forwards?
Yeah, very tough one. I think a lot of people are going to go in that direction, mate. Let's get into some mid forwards.
We've spoken a lot about Terrell May being a plug and play option absolutely every single week. He's absolutely impressing every single week. He's putting up some big numbers, and Laurie Daly is silly enough not to pick him for the New South Wales Blues, so we get to plug him again in round 18. But it's probably those other couple of mid-forward spots that are going to be quite tricky. Are you going down the Milk path again, mate, with a couple of your other selections?
Yes, I am. I've got one Milk player as a mid-forward, and it's going to be Joseph Tapine. And although his finger just went on the full 90-degree angle last week, I don't think it's going to be a bit yucky to look at. If you haven't seen it, it is quite interesting. But yeah, I'm getting him in. He's had a great season. He's been unreal, right? He's just super, super consistent. And he's got real good upside as well. So, yeah, going there. Terrell May, I have a gold of his, and I pretty much exclusively start it weekly unless the Tigers are on bye. Yeah, I know he was a bit upset he didn't get this sort of origin call-up, but in terms of for fantasy, it's been great because we've been able to rely on him sort of every round and just keep him in the squad. And then I've actually gone to Fuller White as my third option. Yeah, I just think there's a couple players out for the Chooks, but I really think they're versus the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken, and that could be a real positive and plus matchup for a lot of the Chooks players, and I think he's going to be a little too much to handle for them. So I could see a pretty good performance from there, mate. But what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm going Tapine as well. Hopefully, he gets through that finger concern and can still strap it up or get out there and play. But if he's got any issues sort of gripping a ball or making tackles, it could be an issue with some, maybe some demerit points in that regard. But fingers crossed he's good to go. I think I'm going to put Corey Horsburgh alongside him as well. I love what Big Red does, particularly when the Raiders are down on a few troops. Now we know that big Josh Papali'i is putting Maroon on again, and he won't be available for the Raiders. So there's going to be some, maybe some increased minute opportunity for Big Red, but obviously some more leadership responsibility for him as well without Big Papa there. So, yeah, I really like what both he and Tapine can do against that depleted Dragons team. But, the Naf White pick is a really interesting one. He had a great game last week. He ran for 200 metres, broke 6 tackles, and the Chooks pack is pretty under strength, with Lindsay Collins and Angus Crichton not there. They're without a number of other blokes. Connor Watson will be missing as well. So he's really that leader in the forward pack. I think the Chooks will have a nice win there against the Cowboys. They're going to score plenty of points with their outside backs, but they're going to need a lot of work through the middle as well. And he's certainly someone that'll put his hand up and get plenty of solid points through the middle. He's probably one guy I'm tossing up whether to play him as a bench forward or run with 2 edges. And we'll speak about a few edge options shortly. But no, I like that pick, mate. And I think he might go a bit under the radar with a few other blokes, but solid for sure.
Love it.
Sorry, boys, I dropped out before, but I'm just jumping in at middles here. So we obviously missed my big chat about Damien Cook as potential in the hook, but I'm going to move on anyway. That's cool. I agree with Taps and Horse. Look, both of them are averaging 52 minutes this season with the base and power of both of them averaging 52 as well. So that point per minute is super important. And I think in this game, like you said, they'll probably get extra minutes. And if they can break that 60-minute mark, we're going to see 60 points from at least in base and power. And we know both of them got opportunities to score, get over the line and score a try. We've obviously seen Big Paps get over a couple of times the last few games. So there's no reason why Horse wouldn't be able to do it as well. So, yeah, I'm all on board with the two Milk up front there as well. And then I do have White as my fourth middle over on the bench there. And it's exactly what you're talking about. He's again, another, points per minute player that I think is just going to have a massive game.
Oh, no. Looks like we might have lost him again. Right as we're at the punchline.
Tigers are allowing an average of 44 to starting props this season as well. So
there we go. We got a bit, but I reckon he's just repeated everything you said about him, Tom.
Probably.
There he is. Any love for Jack DeBellin or Joshy Curran, Dill?
I would like to see if he gets brought in. I might look to play him, but coming off the bench, I'm just not sure yet. And that might influence another spot that I have later on when we talk about the wingers as well, where I'm looking at someone like Harry Hayes playing in that prop position. Just depends what happens with Curran. If he does come into play, I think he's definitely an option there. And then I might look at rejigging my bench a little bit just based on the mix-up between middles and edges.
Speaking of edges, I've currently got 2 edge forwards on my bench, so I'm rolling out 4 of them, although I do like the Naf White play, and I think he'll find his way into a couple of my sides. But I think the edge forward position might actually be quite boring this round. We've still got plenty of good options, as you can see there on screen, particularly in Keon Koloamatangi, Jacob Preston, and Eli Katoa. I don't think many coaches will veer too far away from starting those 3. It's probably just whether or not they're going to start a fourth. And we've seen some big scores in the past from Viliami Kikau, Zach Hosking, but also Tallis Duncan, or if you're Kevin Walters, you'd be calling him Duncan Tallis. But he's had a number of big games, not just last week, but over the past month. He's been scoring really, really well and putting out some elite numbers in comparison to a number of those other guys on the screen. For me, Keon Koloamatangi, Preston, Eli Katoa, and then it will be between Kikau, Naf White, I think, for my final reserve spot.
Okay.
Tommy, any curveballs? Anyone in your team that's not on that screen, mate?
Hey, I'm doing really well to start this, so this is giving me a little bit of extra confidence. But I actually don't have a Koloamatangi, unfortunately, that I can get into my squad. So I'm actually rolling with 4 edges, and they are a gold Preston, a bronze Hosking, a bronze Katoa, and a silver Kikau. So I guess I've sort of gone that lower end of your rankings, and I just don't have the top dog, which is a little concerning that you have him at number 1, and I potentially don't have what could be the best edge. But maybe it's a good thing, because when everyone sort of jumps on one train, if it doesn't work out, then I'm not going to be punished and maybe get the one up, play some pods. So we'll see how it pans out. But they're all there, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And I guess one thing we talk about quite a lot is that potting up with the same player that everyone else is playing, but through the rarity. So I'd be looking to play probably a higher rarity Koloamatangi. So the other thing we do on the show is we love to shout out when we need a trade. So I think anyone in the chat that has maybe get into his DMs now over on Discord, because he might be searching for that, because he might not want to miss out on a big Koloamatangi score. But I'm with you, Stu. I'm going exactly the same. Koloamatangi, Preston, and Katoa. Looking at Tallis Duncan, though, based on particularly the last few games, over the last 3 weeks, he had 7, 54, and 6 for a 3-round average of 79.5 away from him. And I think Duncan will find his way in a few other my squads, but it's just whether I play him as well in this one as a pod over someone like Naf White. I may be leaning towards the safety, but Duncan definitely a big option for me this week. Someone like Hosking, I'm probably not looking at as much just based on the matchup data. I'd probably be leaning Duncan over Hosking if I had that opportunity.
Yeah, I like that, mate. We've got Skip in the chat asking about Slessy Feketi. Gee, look, it looks like he's going to get 80 minutes on the edge there, and he's been outstanding in the time that he has seen on the field. But we've got plenty of good options there on screen. I don't think I'm going to plug someone like that in who's still a bit raw, still hasn't really played those big minutes on an edge yet. Yeah, there might certainly be some attacking upside, and probably some of your other fantasy-based salary cup fantasy games. He might be a bit of a better option, but probably not here in GameDay squad, where we've got a few of those better players listed there on screen. Sif Kanga likes the Presto and Koloamatangi train as well. And Melissa's reminded us all that, Keon wasn't amazing last round. And if you didn't play him last round, maybe that's a big reason why Tommy had some success there in the Contender Cup. We were all, I know for my Classic Cup, I think I had a Platt, Keelan Koloamatangi in my team, as well as a Payne Haas, and spent some big salary on those two boys, and they were both fairly underwhelming. So, yeah, it can work out as a bit of an antipod, but if he goes back to some of those numbers he was getting, only a couple of weeks ago, it'll be a bit of a disappointing watch watch there as well if you don't own his card. But that's why we keep saying get over to the transfer market. I'm sure there are plenty of opportunities for some floating around.
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely.
So Skip's reminded us about the two Eels edges against the Dragons. It might be interesting there to see how well the Raiders do go, and Simi Sasangi might be a decent play there against the Dragons as well. I've got way too many Raiders in my team, so I'm not sure I can fit in a Hosking or a Sasangi. Righto, anything more on edges, boys, before we move on to the halves?
Half time.
Still got you there, Dil?
Still got him. Oh.
No, he's
no longer.
He's gone again. Doesn't like the halves. I'll kick things off here. Again, it's that milk theme. Jamal Fogarty, big favourite of yours, is he, Tom?
Yeah, 100%. I love him. I've been playing him since the start. And this preseason, I got a gold and a platinum of his. And wow, he's paid some dividends for me over the years. So what a player he is.
Yeah, absolutely. He's featured in my team just about every single week. He's named as well. Good game there. Good upside there against the Dragons. They should score plenty of points. And if he's going up in threes, even if he doesn't have his fingerprints on an assist or put a kick in for an assist, that he's fairly likely to go up in three as well. He's doing really well in his base as well. He's making plenty of tackles, and he's running the footy a little bit as well. So, yeah, Jamal Fogarty on a short week with no sort of Cleary and a couple of other decent options. He's still an easy plug for me again this week. We got Dill back. Dill, you plug in Fogarty and Hughes, I imagine. Who are you looking at for your third half of this round?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I'll tell you, a mountain is unreal for shredding, but it's horrible for live streaming. I've been shredding the slopes all week, but just cannot get my internet right up here. But we'll persevere, boys. We'll keep persevering. Look, I love Fogs. I love Fogs. I love Hughes. The other player that I really like this week is Adam Reynolds up against the Dogs. And I know you look at it on paper and it looks like a pretty scary matchup, but I think Reynolds will have a big game against the Doggies. The Dogs allow 50 GDS points to right halves, so I think that they're definitely some opportunity for Reynolds to go big. And look, we say it most weeks, the Broncos can score tries, and Reynolds is usually involved in it, either before or after that try is scored. So I think he's going to make some points through through both the try assists and then kicking the goal as well. Obviously, the Bulldogs have been great in defence. We just look at last week and we look at the 8 points that they limited Penrith to, so that was a great defensive effort. But the big stat for me is Reynolds has played the Bulldogs 19 times since 2014, and he's averaged 57 fantasy points. In that time, he's averaged 400 kicking meters, 51 running meters, 19 tackles, 4 goals, and 1 try assist. So I think he sort of likes playing against the Doggies, and I think it'll be a big game here again for him. So I'm looking at Reynolds over DCE at the moment in my squad, but I know DCE will be a pretty popular pick across most coaches as well.
I do like DCE this week. I'm going big on Manly as well in my outside backs. I think they're just about full strength. We've got DC playing, Turbo's there in the centres, Gerbo's playing. I don't think they have lost anyone to State of Origin, and they're pretty healthy on an injury front, apart from Haumole Olakau'atu. So since his omission from Origin, Cherry Evans has been going along pretty nicely, sort of pumping out scores of 50, but that hasn't included any tries or try assists, and he sort of now gets an understrength Bunnies team, without Latrell and those sorts of guys. So I think Manly are really going to start making their run towards, a case for the finals, and no better way to do it than a Brookvale on an early Sunday afternoon game. Fingers crossed the weather sort of gets a little bit more pleasant, it would be a little bit of a different story if it's a bit more wet. But yeah, signs point to a pretty big win there for Manly, and things finally clicking after their combinations have another week together with Hopewadi at fullback and Turbo at right centre. So yeah, I think Cherry Evans is going to play a big role in that match on Sunday, and I'm pretty happy to plug him into a number of my teams. I think he'll feature in my classic and champion team, but I might look for a different option, like maybe a Reynolds, maybe a Sandon Smith, or maybe even a Hugo Savala, like the casual athlete has mentioned in the comments as well. He's going about pretty nicely in recent weeks. His kick numbers are really high. His tackle numbers have been really high as well. If Sandon Smith doesn't kick goals this round and Savala gets the kicking tee, that would make him a really big selection choice as well. So yeah, probably not at the front of the mind at the moment with Savala, but if any news comes out about Sandon Smith's health, then he could play a big role indeed. Who are you looking at, Tom?
Yeah, my number 2, I've gone Hughes. I feel like he's just coming back into form at the moment, so it's great. And my 3rd is Cherry Evans as well. I sort of agree. Like, he hasn't played fantastic, and he's still churning out some pretty good scores. Like, he could just have one of those games where it's all links up, and he does get more sort of attacking points, whether it's a try assist or a try himself getting over. So yeah, being a lot of the players I normally start are on bye. You see the list there, right? Like, it's pretty massive. But yeah, Cherry Evans for me is the number 3 half for the round, and I'll be starting his bronze on that bench spot.
Yeah, the thing for me about Cherry Evans that I'm a little bit nervous about is that the Rabbitohs allow more points to the left side than the right side. So they're allowing only 55 to left half. So it'll just be an interesting matchup there. Obviously, the Manly side loves to go right more, and we saw them cook last week. But just a little bit concerning that the Rabbitohs tend to defend that side a little bit better compared to the other side on the left. So I feel like Manly might look to target that potentially and go away from that. Just because of that matchup. So, yeah, just be one to watch. And I think the other thing that, we've talked about loading up on players, and it's hard when there's only 5 games in a round, but loading up on a Manly side, we've seen it happen plenty of times, and we've been burnt plenty of times before as well. And we're going to talk about a few more Manly players a little bit later. And, yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned about being burnt again by some of those big Manly players that we like to play most weeks.
Well, there's going to be a bit of theme over the next few positions, and that's Manly players. Centers. I think Ruben Garrick might be close to about 100% owned. He is playing on that fortuitous left side of the field. You'd imagine if Jason Saab stays there on the right and Tommy Talau doesn't come in as a late replacement. But yeah, I think Manly score plenty of points across both sides of the field, and the left winger certainly scores a lot. We finally saw Tom Turbo sweep to the left side of the field in that second half of last week's match, which sort of indicated the role that he might play over the coming weeks, and not just permanently stick there in the right centre position, meaning the left side of the field is going to be heavily involved there as well. So Garrick likely on the left wing outside Tolakula, but what we do know about Garrick is that he'll be going up in 3s as well this week, because Manly are going to put on plenty of points at Brookie, and nothing is going to prevent that from occurring. It's probably just that second centre spot that there's probably going to be a lot of debate about. I could probably flip a coin 5 times and come up with 5 different options, and I still wouldn't know which one is going to be the best option. So any insight there, boys? Tommy, who's your centre pairing, mate?
Look, I went a big pod, or what I thought was a big pod, a player that I didn't think many people would consider. You have him at number 6. I'm going with Adam Dewey. And something in particular, he's going to be playing in the halves this week, which I think is a little more fantasy friendly. And he's been taking the goal kicking. So what was sort of a really rough start to the year in terms of scoring and role, and I'm not sure he was sort of adjusting. He's going to come back sort of and play a little bit more natural and have the bigger buffer because of the goal kicking as well. Like, I'm not banking on the Tigers to score a ton of points against the Roosters, but I do think they can get in, and 1 goal or even 2 would be enough upside for me with him playing in the middle to warrant starting that second centre spot, because again, the normal centres like your Herbies and Tuivasa-Sheck. A couple of people you would look at are not playing. So I'm going to take a little bit of a risk and go with Dewey.
Yeah, nice. Look, I'm going someone on that list as well, and I'm looking at Cobbo against the Dogs. He is going back to fullback, which seems like it's his favoured position, and one of the reasons why he's no longer going to be a Bronco in 2026. And I think that's probably going to be a big reason why he should go well this week. Cobbo will want to play well, to show the Dolphins that they've made the right choice, and that signing him to move up the Bruce Highway next season is the right option for Cobbo and the Dolphins as well. And we've seen him at the back for the Broncos a few times, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster for him. Magic round, he was in absolutely everything, even though they were completely dusted and smashed off the park by Penrith. But he still popped off with a 64 there, whereas the following week he was nowhere near the ball and just off ball possession at all, and he finished on 30 GDS points. So really hoping we get a super involved Cobbo this week against a pretty many players out. They've got Critter, Max King, and Karaz missing, but outside of that, their team's pretty solid. And I'm pretty keen to see how Cobbo goes. The benefit, I think, is that his average at fullback is 46 GDS points across those 4 games in round 8 to 11, and the Dogs allow an average of 36.3. So he's got an average above what they allow. So I think he could have a big game this week. So I'm gonna go with Cobbo in not as much confidence as I usually would across a number of other players, but yeah, Cobbo just for me over any of those others on screen.
Yeah, I've played Cobbo once or twice this year when he has been given that fullback jersey, and you probably thought he would have sort of taken it 2 hands and had a really big game. I think he had a big game once and then probably failed in 2 other occasions. But with his departure and the middle forwards out, there's no Reece Walsh there. I'm just not sure how good the Broncos are going to be and whether or not Cobbo's going to have the same sort of time and space and that sort of thing. If it was a full strength Broncos team with Cobbo at fullback, I'd be looking a lot closer at him. But look, he's still a good option. I've got Matty Timoko in there at the moment for no real reason, apart from the fact that, like we mentioned before, I think the Raiders put a bit of a score on the Dragons. They're pretty depleted. They're without a number of players and lost a couple of forwards through injury as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I just think the Raiders are going to put on a bit of a score. I'm playing Jamal Fogarty there on the right. There's every chance he links up there with Matty Timoko, and Timoko can have some big games. He breaks plenty of tackles. He's gone above 50 just about in half of his matches this season. He's got a big 80 as well. So, look, it's a really tough position that the centre is, and I think I'm going to have a bit of difference across a number of my teams. I just can't really get around the Tigers in Dewey or Stafford Toa. I know Mel's got a bit of love there for Stafford Toa, but look, they're injury riddled as well. Api Coruscant was a big loss for them. He obviously takes a lot of control and directs that team around the park. They've now got Dewey slotting in there in the halves, alongside Latu Fino with a hooker who hasn't had a lot of experience as well. So, I think they're really going to struggle there against the Chooks, and I think that might mean it's going to be pretty difficult there for Toa and Adam Dewey as well.
And I think with Toa, the other thing is you're really relying on him to get over the try line and to build his score through scoring tries, which he's been doing quite well. But we saw last week he had a really down game when he didn't cross the line. So, that's a bit concerning for me. And I guess it's similar to our wingers, where it's still a volatile position in that centre spot. The watch, Sunia Taruva goes at the back, and what that looks like for the Tigers. Obviously, they've started to run out of options there, so they're throwing him at the back and giving him another crack at it. So it'll be interesting to see how they go there.
Yeah, speaking of which, the wingers, I've got Lehigh Hopewade and Mark Nwanganitawaze as my 2 wingers, but it's probably a really good option to pot up with a few of those players playing out of position, and there's 3 of them listed on the screen as well. We talk about Fletcher Sharp, when he was fit. We talk about Lehigh Hopewade. When they were both playing at fullback, they're great to plug into your wing spot, generally speaking. But we've got a couple of other options there in Taruva and Johnson. Now, they're both playing at fullback, but we can play them as our wingers. They are playing for teams that aren't expected to win their matches, meaning they probably won't have the same sort of attacking upside as we might like. But I know, Dill, you're pretty big on this one. He's not playing out of position on at the back at fullback. He's actually playing out of position with the number 8 on his back at the moment. Now, whether or not that stays true on game day, he won't move to the edge like he has in the past. And we're obviously talking about Harry Hayes here. But if he starts in the front row there with Joshy Curran still on the bench, is he a big chance to make or feature in your side as a winger playing in the front row?
Yes, yeah, he is. I love Harry Hayes. I think he ended up winning me the GDS Cup final up against JT. So I've got a whole lot of love for Harry Hayes and what he does when he is starting.
Nice.
And it could be one of the biggest cheat codes in the world, I think. Or it could be an absolute flop if Curran comes into the side and Harry Hayes makes his way back to the bench, which, there's every opportunity that might happen. But I'm really hoping that it is a big cheat code. Just having that safety of a front row forward, a prop, starting and having him play in your wing spot is just unreal. We talk about a whole lot of different options in terms of our edges that are playing in the middle, and we want to bank those points as much as possible. And I think for me, this is where I'm going to just be able to get that safety in Hayes averaging his 43 tackles and 80 running meters. So that's, a decent base for a winger. And then who knows what he can get on top of that when he's starting in that prop role as well. He probably won't get 80 minutes, we know that, but he's up against that Broncos. And you just talked before about, the forward pack that's missing at the Broncos. So he won't be running up against the Haases and the Carrigans that, that dominate the tackle. He might be able to get on the front foot and get a few more tackle breaks through the middle as well, with a couple of lesser front rowers there. So, yeah, I'm really keen on Harry Hayes. And I think he could have been a pod, but I've probably let the cat out of the bag a little bit. And he's probably no longer a pod. But that's okay. I'm keen for him to have a big game. So I'm going to go with Harry Hayes. And then my second options is probably that Hopewade shout, just over Marky Mark slightly. But it's a really easy pivot, I think, if Harry Hayes just Nawaka Nituazi and run my wing spot where he's playing in the centres.
Yeah, I think it's upside versus safety there between the two. The safety of Harry Hayes and the obvious potential upside there of Mark Nituazi. I'd be a little bit happy to play Marky Mark if he was named on the wing. He's obviously back at the centre now. That'll just be makeshift for sort of this 1 week. But yeah, playing at centre, his numbers have been down slightly. He's going to make more tackles and he might get the ball in his hands sooner, but he's not going to be on the edge of that back line to finish some tries or get plenty of kick return meters. So yeah, there is a little bit of hesitation in putting him across all 4 of my teams. So yeah, the Harry Hayes shout, if he is named in that starting lineup come kickoff, I think that's a great way to sort of have a safe sort of 40 or 50 points. And he plays with so much mongrel that he's out on the field and he gets involved so often. If he can get some big numbers playing in the middle of the field, yeah, he's going to have a massive score. And I know he's pretty close to your heart because of his big score when you won the Classic Cup. Which way are you going, Tom?
Alrighty, Tigers fans, block your ears. I'm going the pairing of the Roosters wingers here in Mark and Tupou. I'm just banking on the fact that there's going to be a lot of tries scored in this game due to just them being a better team. They're going to be outclassed, and I'm just hoping 2 of the high scoring or 2 of the try scorers are going to be in those 2 boys there. Look, if Mark was on the wing, I actually agree. Like, it's probably a little easier because they'll just be able to spread and pick them apart. But he's a very physical, he's a specimen at that. He's super agile. I still see him impacting, breaking tackles, potentially getting offloads and sort of impacting in that way. But yeah, I'm going the double pairing there of the Roosters boys, and hopefully that pays some big dividends with a big score for them.
Gee, that couple that into the James Tedesco stack, and you could be amongst plenty of points. I think this might actually answer the casual athlete's question he's asked across all positions: who's the top scorer for the round? I'm going to lock in James Tedesco as an answer for that one. Like you said, the Roosters look big favourites. And while they're down on a number of troops as well, they're going to score plenty of points. We know that. And James Tedesco is just amongst absolutely everything when that's occurring. We know he goes up a gear during the State of Origin period. And his run last year was absolutely incredible to finish the season. It sort of started around this time as well. So, yeah, for me, absolutely no hesitation with James Tedesco. And if you're expecting him to have a big one, then there's, every reason to go at Daniel Tupou and even a Marky Mark as well as a triple stack. And that could surge you up the rankings massively as well. Yeah, I like it, mate. That's got me considering Dan Tupou in a team or two now. I like it.
Yeah, and look, I've gone James Tedesco in gold in my contender. It's the highest salary cap you can do. I totally agree. I think he'll be the highest scoring player. He's a premium player when there's not a lot of premium options due to Origin. I just think it's real worthwhile. And plus, if the matchup doesn't scream, I'm about to explode for fantasy points, then I'm not sure what will. It could be a big day, and I'd be getting as much salary cap as I could on a Teddy card that's going into your squad. But I guess it's interesting to talk about some of the other players here, mate, and I guess what you're going to do in terms of your bench as well. How many fullbacks are you starting, and who would be your next best pick?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to play two fullbacks on the bench this week. It's not always the case every week. There are a number of pretty handy centres or wingers that we'd consider as well. But with so many good players on the bye and struggling to, come up with two really good selections in both centre and wing positions, for me, I think it's pretty easy to plug two fullbacks in. We know that the fullbacks get their hands on the footy a bit more. They're a lot more creative. A number of those guys on the screen also kick goals. So a big reason for that is why, Ryan Pappenhausen will certainly get a start across a number of my teams. They've got a really good matchup there. Pappenhausen, they're against the Cowboys, and we know that the Cowboys are leaking plenty of points. The Cowboys are without a number of their Origin stars as well. They're already conceding a number of points with those boys in the team. Storm do lose a couple of their Origin stars as well in Munster and Harry Grant as well, but they've still got Pappenhausen, still got Jerome Hughes, still got a really solid forward pack as well. So, I think there's going to be plenty of points on offer there for the Storm, and Pappy's kicking goals as well. So, pretty easy shout there as maybe the second biggest scorer of the round behind James Tedesco. It's really just that third fullback spot for me. I presume you're going Pappy. If so, who have you got as your number 3?
Yes, Pappy's in for number 2, goal kicking, loving the season he's having. Number 3 is going to be Drinkwater. Now, I can't seem to play him on the right week. He plays really well when I bench him, and then when I start him. So this could be a bit of a disclaimer for anyone who's watching along. Could be the week to fade Drinky because I'm going to triple fullbacks at that. I was a little thin on cards, not sure who to start. I went, you know what? I'm just going to have some faith here. It's a bit hard with the lineups that have been named, and as you just mentioned, some core players out. But the Storm do look pretty strong, nonetheless, right? They're a pretty good team, irrespective. But I don't feel great about it, mate. But I am currently got Drinkwater in that second bench spot.
Yeah, I'm a bit like you, not really able to play Drinky on the weeks that he pops off. And last week, Dylan and I spoke about Drinkwater there against the Titans and how good that matchup looked. But there were so many other good fullback options as well. He was probably that 4th or 5th pick. Only got a start in one of my teams, but he obviously scored those 2 tries, got a nice big score for GameDay squad, and obviously outscored a number of those other fullbacks. But look, I'm happy if you're continuing to play him because I'm fading him this week.
Yeah, it's a great round to do it.
Yeah, if your logic comes true, then and you play him and he doesn't score well, then I'm happy with that. I'm happy to fade him. And I'm going to go that man, Tommy Trebojevic. Now, that's a bit of like the reverse out of position player. Normally, if someone was playing fullback, but you could put him into your center spot, that would be almost a no-brainer. But Turbo's playing center, but I'm using up a fullback spot for him. Look, I don't think that is going to matter too much. We've spoken at length about how good we think Manly are going to be this weekend. They're not impacted by State of Origin. They've got a really strong right-hand side of the field. But what I loved was the couple of times that Turbo went to the left-hand side of the field. They had Brooks and Cherry Evans lined up on the right. The play the ball went to the left, straight to Tommy. He attracted a couple of defenders and threw a nice cutout pass, I think, to Kula, who scored a try or set up a try there as well. So He still scored 52 points playing at centre in really that first sort of match where they had all of those different positions. They've got another week's worth of training with those players in those same positions. And I think he's going to go up a gear as well. He doesn't have to put his body, under that much stress as he does playing fullback, so he can pick and choose his moments. And he's so strong close to the line. He'll drag 2 or 3 players over, or he'll find a way to get a pass to his wingers as well. He's really creative. He's got all the skills, and we're going to see him pop up on the left-hand side of the field. I just can't trust Dreamwater, which is what our chat has labelled him in the past. Can't trust Dreamwater after a big score against the Storm, who was still pretty stacked. I think that's going to be the week where Drinky might have a quiet one.
For sure. And I hear your reasons for Tommy Turbo, mate. It's true. And it's probably just a matchup thing, right? Maybe not every week you're going to be jumping at Tommy Turbo, playing centre at fullback. But in this one in particular, if the cards go the way we sort of see them unfolding, then, it could be a great call to get him in, especially into a bench spot.
Yeah, just looking ahead at Dill's final team, I think he's gone Drinkwater as well. So he's probably dug into the stats a little bit more in terms of why he's decided to go Drinkwater. Storm has still given up 41 GDS points to fullbacks. And they're obviously a little bit weaker there with some of their key players out. And Drinky's base hasn't actually been that poor. He's still averaging 41 in base, through his tackles, his tackle breaks, his run meters, his kick meters. His goals are included in that as well. So, I'm not too sure how many tries the Cowboys will score. You imagine if they do score a few, he might be involved in some of them, and he'll certainly be kicking, or at least attempting to kick as well. But
spot on.
Look, the Storm still have only averaged 14 points in terms of NRL points across their past month. So opposition teams aren't scoring, and now we're talking about a Cowboys team without Tommy Dearden and a few of their big forwards. We're talking about them trying to score some points so Drinky can get involved. Yeah, I'm fading, but good luck to all of those Drinky players. Mate, there's been a bit of talk about KO Weeks. Is there any interest in him at all before we finish up and move on?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I saw a comment as well before, someone saying, I think I've missed it. What is the milk? Do you want to quickly explain what the milk is for your boys?
Oh yeah, might just see if I can find that.
Here we go. I got it.
You got it. Yeah. So Michael Cosy, we keep referring to the boys as the milk. So Canberra had some sponsorship with Canberra Milk, and they had their the big milk emblazoned on the jersey, but also the goalposts. I can still remember back in the 90s, the early 2000s, the padding on the goalposts was the big carton of milk. And that, along with the sponsorship on the jersey, is a big reason why they're called the milk there as well. We've got Dill back. Maybe he just went and had a glass of milk.
Love it. My Wi-Fi needs some milk. It is struggling right now. I'm sure you've already talked through your fullbacks, and I'm assuming that a lot of our fullbacks are very similar. I think maybe the main one.
Oh no.
He's still trying. Good on him for trying. He hasn't given up just yet. It's just not happening for him. We're almost done anyway though, Deal. So thanks for giving it a crack.
But Weeks isn't a bad shout. Back to your point. Look, good matchup against the Dragons. Dragons are definitely depleted, and we spoke about all the reasons of why the other players are going to score well. He is going to be playing fullback, and there's definitely a case to be made that he could come in and have a red-hot game. I'm just not sure if I would be playing him over maybe some of the upside of the other players, especially the top two. I feel like the top two are pretty locked, and you're very confident. I sort of started there, at least with my backs. But maybe if you want to go a pod, you want to be a little different, you can make a case for that bench spot, that second one. But there are maybe some higher upside options that I might be looking at before going someone like a Weeks.
Yeah, fair enough. And Tom H has just asked, Drinky against Storm versus Turbo against the Bunnies. Yeah, mate, that's what Tom and I just spoke about a couple of minutes ago. So if you missed out on that, make sure you rewind once we jump off here. But I was pretty strong in the camp of Tommy Turbo, and Tom had a few good things to say about that as well. He's got Drinkwater at the moment, with the goal kicking duties playing at the back. And I'm going for Turbo despite playing at centre. I just think there's some upside there for Manly.
Yep.
Alrighty, on screen is a quick look at the round 18 Classic Cup squads that Dill and I are going to roll out. We're obviously not revealing our rarities at this stage. The players in gold are the differences in Dill's team compared to my team. Unfortunately, there though, you'll see that there's a big red eliminated sign underneath my name. So I'm actually not taking part in the Classic Cup anymore. But I'll still be rolling out a Classic team every week and trying to get up there on the leaderboard. But a number of different options there. I might have said earlier that Dill was on the Tommy Starling train, but it appears as though he's got Damien Cook, and he's obviously spoken through a few of his other matches players there, like his Hayes, his Cobbo, he's going Reynolds as well. Anyone there that stands out from his team that you think might get the edge over mine, Tom?
Yeah, interesting. Reynolds, I feel like that's a pretty big call this round. That sort of third half spot between Reynolds and you having Cherry Evans in. I'm on the Cherry Evans train. Just feel like it's a little safer. Cobbo over Timiko is another pretty big matchup there as well, sort of in your head-to-head. And then Hayes that you spoke about. Like, if he is going to be playing forward and there's that upside, then maybe that's something we might want to pivot to. But I guess you're going to have to wait for some confirmation and lineup news on that to be sure of whether you want to make that call or not. But those who are willing to take the risk could be rewarded greatly for someone like Hayes. And I think those are probably the three key matchups I would look at as where the difference could be made between your squads for this round.
So there you go. If you're the coach of the footy team, you've got an inside look into who Dill's going to roll out this week. Dill, while we've got you, mate, who are you going to throw some big salary into this round if you could highlight 2 or 3 players that are going to get a few extra dollars with some higher rarity cards in your Classic team?
Yeah, like I talked about, probably Klonga is going to be one of them just because I feel like he's going to be owned by a lot of players. So I feel like that might give me that edge, that pod. Same with James Tedesco. I think that's going to be another big one, along with Pappenhausen as well. I think those are sort of my 3 main ones, and that's just purely based on I've got a few pods in my team already, but then I just want to pod up with those higher rarities of those players that are highly owned. So that's sort of where I'm looking to spend my salary this week and go with the golds or the silvers there across some of those players.
Yeah, rightio. And if things couldn't get any worse after my loss in the Challenger Cup, I've also gone down again in Bro Down Showdown. What does that make it now, Dill? Is it 10-6?
It is 10-6, that is right. 10-6 your way, that's right. So I'm on the comeback trail.
So still holding a bit of a buffer there, but what that does mean is that I will be opening up a pack for... Dill, do you want me to spin the wheel today?
Yeah, mate, I don't think my internet will be able to handle me on screen and spinning my wheel. So let's get that wheel up on yours.
Spin the wheel.
So normally Dill does this. He will spin the wheel, but I'll see if I can get it done tonight. All of these players on screen are the players that are the coaches that chose Dill to win Bro Down Showdown last week. So there are 5 of them that will have their chance to win a card from a pack that I am about to open. Let's spin the wheel and see who is playing for a card this week. It is our good man, Walkie. I'm sure he'll be sure he'll be watching or at least listening, and he'll be eager to see who he might get. So, Dill,
here we go.
You got 3 cards on the screen. Can you see them?
Sure do. Yep. Alrighty, let's go. Let's go to the left for Walkie, far left side.
Far left. Oh, looks like a platinum card. Jacob Saifidi.
Sorry, Walkie.
Sorry, Walkies, mate.
Sorry, brother.
Let's see who Lee could be a name in the future. And Leo Thompson. Not a great 3-player rare pack there as well. But Laulii could be someone that we talk about in the future as well. So not a doom and gloom there, but Walkie, put up a trade there for you, Jacob Saifidi, mate. I'm sure you're stoked that you've got him. Well done. May as well give him a run out this week as well, since he's a new addition to your team.
Yeah, why not?
make sure you run him out.
Why not? Maybe in that champion side of Walkies. Hey?
All right, this week, Brodown Showdown. Tom, you can get the first guess in to see who you think is going to win between Dill and I. We've spun the wheel. The 3 positions that we're choosing between this week are the edge, the wing, and the fullback position.
Great positions.
I've gone for Keon Kolomatangi, Mark Nwangani-Tuase, and James Tedesco. Dill's landed on Katoa, Hopewade, and Ryan Pappenhausen. What's your gut saying, mate?
Mate, my gut couldn't stop looking at the right-hand side of the screen. Everyone else is in the chat. I think Stu is bouncing back. He's got Cola, Mark, and Teddy. I think we both agreed that Teddy would be the top scorer of the round. So at least in my opinion, that's potentially one of the 3. And then I feel like between Mark and Cola, one of them will get it done, which will give you the edge. We could see a clean sweep. Going to call it here first. We could see the triple get done, get the edge on all 3.
I was actually about to say,
if it goes that way.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a clean sweep all year. Dill will be able to confirm this or not. If we have, it's only been 1 or 2, but I think it's been 2-1 almost every single week. And there have been weeks where it's been 1-1 into the final player, they're 5 points ahead, and just the week just gone, Blake Brayley and Harry Grant were our 3rd players, and Dill had Blake Brayley, I had Harry Grant, and Brayley beat him by, I think it was 1.7 points. So,
wow.
Been super close. We've had 2-1 every week.
That's my big prediction. Big prediction is, sorry, Dill, but you're on the slopes, you're enjoying life, so it's all good anyway. I'm going clean sweep for Stu.
We've got plenty of Stews and Dills. You do have some support, though, Dill, in your man, Sif Kanga.
My man.
Some back in there.
My man.
And, look, anything can happen in the Brodown Showdown. But, I like the positive words of encouragement there, Tom. I'm hoping that, a clean sweep will be a great way to end the big guys.
Absolutely, mate. 100%.
All right. Anything more that you guys wanted to add?
I reckon no one can vote unless they can say Nwangani-Tuase. But anyway.
Nwangani-Tuase. Gosh.
There you go. Nailed
it. There you go. You're allowed to vote.
Couple more stews coming in.
Love it. All right, just before we finish off and before we sign off, big shout out to Jay Boney. He's commented there, Stu, but also a big shout out to the boys on the snow trip who were hoping to watch this live, couldn't quite get there, so they're watching the replay now. So all the boys on the snow trip with me, good on you. Have a big day tomorrow.
Legends. How good is that? Get around it, get amongst it, get keen.
All right, thanks again for joining us, everyone. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday evening for Game 3 of the Queensland versus New South Wales live preview. Come down,
Blues.
1-1. It's not a clean sweep this year. You got to join us on that stream, eh, Tom?
Oh, mate, all I know is the Blues are getting up, big win, load up with the Blues players. And I can't wait for that. It's going to be a cracking game, Game 3. This is what we watch footy for moments.
This is what I see happening. Ready? I'm going to just run you through a bit of commentary. 78th minute, there's 78 and a half minutes. There's 90 seconds left. The Blues have it. They're inside the 10. Payne Haas has 3 players on his back. He's going around. He flicks out an offload. Dill Edwards gets it. Shifts it right a couple of times. Zachy Lomax dives and scores in the corner. Queensland win 32-4.
Big J up. Big J up there. You know what? We need to learn how to kick to be even in this game. I think the goal kicking's been a big difference.
Yeah.
Val Holmes, just to give him his flowers, in the pouring rain, was an absolute sniper last game. He single-handedly won the game for Queensland, looking back on it, through his kicking. So we'll see if the boys are up for it. It'll be a cracker either way, and I can't wait to watch it and talk the smack if we win and then just go into hiding if we lose.
Yeah, can't wait. All right. Thanks for the resilience, Dill, joining us in and out all night long. Thanks for joining us, Tom. More than welcome every single week as that honorary 3rd fantasy bro. You've succeeded, Cal, in that regard. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Make sure you get the votes in for the Brodown Showdown, and we'll catch you next Wednesday night for the Game 3 live preview show. A little bit earlier at 6:30. so that we've got plenty of team to make some final last-minute changes before the game kicks off. Good luck for round 18. Get those teams organised. Good luck. We'll see you on the leaderboard. Catch you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for persevering, everyone.